Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Throw Now. Tonight we are joined by Andrew / Frank.
Hello.
NJ Tech.
Good evening.
Oh,
That's not right. What is that?
Hello.
Oh, it's YouTube. It's YouTube. Just mute it.
Just mute it. That pretty much happens every time anyway.
It's always one of you fuckers.
Carry on.
Andy RC,
Hello, everybody.
my favourite curry kitten.
Hello, I'm all on my own because I smell.
My little Tony,
Bonjour.
sat next to me. Oh god, I think I'm going to vomit. And I'm bright until I fly.
Okay.
Come on,
Someone's already referenced flight test.
Really?
Yeah, this is the start of the
Oh,
UK
we're so
flight
good.
test. In this
Oh,
little room.
Doesn't everyone feel the power of Jesus lift their wings?
This is way better than flight test. We've all got an individual mind.
What I want you to do is buy a lot of foam and join the cult of Jesus.
And
Am I going to get in trouble for this?
we actually had real fun today as well. We didn't have to make.
We didn't make believe fun, did
Yeah.
we?
Yeah.
No one gave me a high five.
So who tuned in from everyone that's on now earlier today to see our live stream from our quads and us stood in a field having quite a lot of fun, actually. Surprising
I
amounts
saw a
of
little
fun.
bit of it. Unfortunately, when I was tuned in, I noticed that one person was flying, but the streaming rate was very good, much better than when we tried it in my field.
yes.
Good.
Yeah, I think
Excellent.
that was probably when I was flying, but we did get some time when we were all flying. I think we were just trying to sort out frequencies and channels and stuff.
I think the most we got was 3 today streaming, hopefully.
Yeah, 3. It was a load of fun. It looked like it came out well. I want to watch that. I want to watch that back when I get
Yeah.
home. That's kind of really cool. We did some chasing with the X class and stuff.
That was cool.
I chased the next class today along with Andy.
Yeah.
We did that. Hurricane Spitfire flanking the Lancaster.
Yeah.
Style
It did look good
flyby.
watching it back.
Yeah.
It was pretty epic. So we'll get some footage up. Probably pop something on the Facebook page. A little clip of that later. And then
That would be
we'll
good.
cut that into our own
I was going to
videos
say
as
you'll
well.
probably see it on all of our channels. It
was
does
so good.
look like an air show formation fly
Yeah.
past, isn't it? Which you don't see.
And NJ, you said it was something out of Star Wars with the TIE fighters flanking
Yeah.
like some big ship.
There was a TIE fighter sound, definitely, because you had the low noise of the X class. And that was on tri-blades, wasn't it? But that was really low kind of
Yeah.
noise. And then there was mine, which was the 6-inch on bi-blades, and then Andy's was the 5-inch
Yeah.
screamer.
Yeah.
So all those frequencies together, it just sounded like this TIE fighter going past.
It was good.
It was cool. You're all going to love it.
Yeah.
Can't you put your phone to the mic because you've got a muff on yours?
Phone to the mic. Oh, I
Yeah.
probably could. Find it. I'll do that while
Do
you
it, man. It'll be quite.
talk amongst yourselves, and I'll see.
Well, I was really sorry to miss it, especially sounding like how you had such a good day, but you'll have to take me through it in excruciating detail. So, important questions. Did Frank maiden his Radian? Did Andy blow up any more Kiss ESCs?
No.
It was,
Wow.
I bought 3 models, expecting them all to explode, and I only needed to bring 1, and the Kiss model flew awesome, and it had crossfire on it, and so
surprising, really, seeing as how wet everything was.
it was so moist.
I know. It was like NJ was playing on stage.
Yeah.
You even had to get the alcohol spray out.
I did have to get the alcohol spray out.
And
A little bit too damp.
Frank made his Radian, but what was reversed, Frank? Who didn't do his pre-flight checks?
I did the pre-flight checks, but just forgot how rudders work. That's all.
There was one bit that wasn't caught on video that I wish was, and that was when was it you, Jack? Were you circling the glider, and then you must have gotten really close over the top of it, and the wing just like bent backwards while it was in the air.
Did any of you see?
I think everyone missed my first landing.
My head.
Oh, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
as
I
in
was
the Goblin
I was so
Fly.
confident that I was just going to catch it, and it just flew straight past me into NJ.
I was gonna say it's very high weights.
Oh,
and
oh,
a
yeah.
Safe model, and nobody was injured.
No,
we
not
were
at all.
nowhere near
You
Luton.
couldn't tell this was a glass eye.
Airport.
It was. Yeah, it weighs nothing, but great fun little glider there.
Touch me up, Tony.
Considerably less noisy than what we were flying.
Can you see it just over in that corner? There we go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so you
Yeah,
can see
that's
it's
it.
literally a little
Am I
scale
even
down
on
there.
our camera? Is that working? Yeah.
It is working, but it's kind of Jack's head is the top of the frame.
Oh, okay. I can only just work out the picture that I'm looking at the back of Frank's head here and the front of him here. It's like a 360 Frank cam. I like it.
Where's that from, Andy? Because I want one. It looked a lot of fun.
This was from Tower Hobbies,
Our hobbies.
I think.
Where are they based? Are they? Don't know.
I don't know.
Just a blind purchase, but it looked. I mean, we were really lucky as well with the weather.
It was perfect weather for it today.
It's
When
probably
I
10 degrees or something, I reckon.
Oh, at least. Like,
yeah. It only really got cold as it was getting dark, as
Yeah.
well as we were in the shadows.
yeah, zero wind is such a luxury as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I mean
nothing,
that thing was just like that was locked in, wasn't it?
It was so fun.
Yeah, great. And
I know. I did go out today and looked at the weather, and I was like, "Wow, these are really good conditions." This makes me feel even worse about not being able to go.
At
Ooh,
the end,
like kind of rain or something for you.
Yeah,
It was
we
there
lucked
was
out.
there was some mist. We had to compete with some mist. That was what we had to deal with.
There's the fine line between mist and fog, isn't there? There's a point because there's no difference. It's just a term thing.
Tony, I think
There's a
we
point
need
at
you
which
to answer this.
Mist
question
is
about-
dense enough to become fog.
Resident meteorologist.
Is it something to do with chemtrails? Is this why you've involved Tony?
There was some at the end of the day, so the weather's going to be changeable tomorrow.
Weather with Tony. Good thing.
We did do the weather.
Well, I drove through some snow on the way down here, but and it was totally unflyable at my spot. But yeah, down south it does seem like you do get better weather.
It is grimmer up north. We keep saying it.
South of the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
We have got fireworks. If the super chat.
A little too many fireworks, if we're honest.
Something special for Jack as well.
Yes.
I like the idea of Jack holding a firework while all of you are in the room there. This makes me happier to not be
There's a lot of wood in this room.
There's a lot of wood. There's
wood,
quite a few
electronics,
products as well,
microphones
so
everywhere.
don't worry about that between Andy and I think.
what have you got me? Why should I be scared?
What's going to
Don't worry about
happen
it.
for him?
Oh
to be
yeah,
scared?
yeah. Jack's got a surprise.
I think just the first donation.
Yeah.
Any donation, any amount.
Yeah.
We'll,
Okay,
we'll
sounds
give a little
Before
surprise to
it's
Jack.
dark, be a little.
How many watches have we got?
I don't
Right.
know. I don't know why is it YouTube chat just says 0? But we know you're chatting, so we know it's not 0.
That's
I'm thinking
characters.
my mic, that's not it.
Huh?
That's characters that I could type.
Sorry.
That'll be why then. Now I've learned something.
MJ
Well,
has
at least
got a medal.
At least
though.
I didn't look stupid on the live stream.
This is how you set up your
This
Nevada.
is why we pre-record stuff, guys. So we never look stupid. Anywho,
MJ, you've got a medal.
I finally got this medal, which I've worn proudly all day, it's roughly
2 years old.
2 years. It was
Awarded-
July 2016.
There you go, the first LDO freestyle games, and I won, and then was never given my medal, and it went into storage.
Didn't pick it up.
Guarded. Oh, that is that one. Guarded by a tiger, according to Frank.
What
Yeah.
copter were you flying to win such an event?
I was flying the Luminaire QAV 250.
Oh yeah.
Is that the old dirty clean plate one?
Yeah, it was the not the Charpu one with the slightly stranger shape, it was the one that they like the second generation one that they brought out, and they brought out little arm extensions for it, which Charpu came out with. It's a really old frame. It was kind of one of the first
It was one of the
250.
first ones.
Yeah. So it was that frame with some ZMX motors, and so, yeah, it was all pretty old,
Jack.
pretty old
Oh.
stuff. But yeah, that was good. That was a fun day, wasn't it?
That's the end thing now. Going back to your roots. I was flying my ZMR the other day. Flew perfect.
That gimbal footage looked pretty good, Andy. If you had the angle a bit better on it, I'd have to say, if you were just going about quite flat, it would look like a sort of really speedy little Mavic or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the problem that I had was that was like the first anomaly flight, and then I landed, and it's a KISS 18 PSC. I don't know where to look because I'm like
camera one.
and it caught fire. So yeah, no, I want to experiment more with that. So I'm going to stick some UESCs on it, put some more up tilt on. Because what it does is it follows, and you don't realize how much sort of forward pitch that you put in it, and you can't see what the gimbal is doing. But I think if all you have to do, and which I didn't do, is match your camera tilt on your FPV camera to the gimbal. I just assumed that it would always stay level, you know, it would, but it's not the case. In FPV mode, it follows. So if you tip down, it tips down as well. So if you have the camera angle the same as your FPV camera, then you should get decent
should get what you want.
Gonna have another go at that. We did go to Victoria's Secret before the show.
I like this as well.
I feel like a princess. Oh man, this is the best day ever.
Hey.
Loads of electronics open for the bubbles to hit.
Come in through on the camera.
Any chance we can fill these with hydrogen?
There you go, Win.
Oh, you get bubbles and a sparkler.
Oh, look, you can put the bubbles out with the sparkler.
There you go, Jack with his pink
I thought the idea was to wave it around and get big, massive ones.
You can, but it's expensive electrical equipment.
Yeah, we don't want to break stuff.
That's good enough.
Feels very camp doing this. Like over here.
Why we did it.
Styling it out, Jack.
I like you like that, dear.
Right, this was a bad idea.
The smell of that sparkler. My God.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It does smell like
Proper silver one. Those gold ones are not as good.
it smells like reverse polarity on
It
an
does,
ESC.
it smells like blowing.
No, it's
Really?
a little bit
You don't
better
like
than
it?
that.
You don't like it? I'm into it.
That smell means bad things have happened to you.
I'm hoping someone else donates because I'm feeling jolly.
Well, one of them, that will make
this could be really
Open
scary.
another.
You're an idiot.
They all got. I know.
Richard Harwood made a good comment. Get the bubble blower out and fire up a quad behind you.
Yeah.
Well, we've got one here.
Instant bubble machine.
What other
there.
dumb stuff did we do other than flying to your head?
Apart from Andrew crashing into my head with the radiant glider. What other dumb stuff we did? I took the Mobula 7 out and did some power loopy things. That was excellent.
You did a little bit of long range, which I was amazed by.
Yeah.
Your very
that was
first
first
pack.
as
That was
well.
impressive.
Well, I've used that quad long range so many times. I trust it now. I know how good it is.
What I found worrying is like my video completely cut out and
Really?
yeah.
No, I was
don't-
absolutely fine.
Maybe I need to upgrade the firmware of that TrueD or get a better antenna.
Do you calibrate them when you put the new firmware on? Calibrate the actual.
I did it the first time, but so that might be the problem.
Maybe
as
that's
well.
it. Because every time you upgrade firmware, you have to reset the calibration between the two. So it
Yeah.
might
There's
have been
little
that it
bubbles
just wasn't
floating around
switching
still.
to the patch. Perhaps it was just staying on the circular once it was
Yeah.
out far enough.
Because I want
Right.
to experiment with long range with Greg Menace. Give it now has the 2.4 antennas and stuff, so that should be interesting.
And by
Yeah.
long range, we assume you need a distance of vertically sort of 400 feet up and 500 meters out. Pushing the edges down.
It was. I don't even think it was 400 meters. It was probably under that. It was about 100 meters up.
It was within line of sight.
Yeah, obviously within line of sight, but just out in a straight line, patch pointing straight at it.
But for me, because I got quite a small field, I'd never seen a copter go out that far before, and I was just like,
Are you regretting buying him this now?
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. Can you guys see it? Is it in high def enough that you can see?
I can see that Tony's getting particularly moist, and that gives me a great deal of pleasure over here.
Before the bubbles
That's only because Andy RC sitting next to
There
me.
you go. You see.
Well, you got Andy RC one side, NJ to the other. It's like a little dream.
But Jack, I'm
Jamie's getting
straight, so
He's
spaghetti
getting worried about it.
till it gets wet.
He is actually. It does look like it's
You
about
don't
to
like
attack me again, which is a shame.
See, hmm.
Jack loving the
How did you
blowjob.
guys? All right, question for Tony, Frank, and I. Well, mainly Tony. How did you find? Do you prefer Curry's spot, or do you prefer Frank's spot?
Equally the same for me.
They're pretty similar, to be fair. They're both wide open spaces.
Yeah, I enjoyed the trees at Curry Kittens more,
Yeah.
but there's more. There was more of us here, so that was pretty good. But,
Nobody moved.
What are you doing, Junior?
but like for me, sorry to be this guy to bring it up, but it really did feel like when the members of the public were looking at us, they were just like right near Luton Airport, maybe. And you know, they were
They're
just like,
clearly planning some sort of
there's 50
coordinated
grand to be
attack in
made
the
here.
airport.
we everything that we did was legal though. We
Oh
stayed
yeah, we
away from
checked our
people.
distance. We were absolutely
Everybody had a spot. We had no incidents apart from you getting hit. But
fine. But that was just
That was line of sight.
light little foam glider.
Mm.
I like the goggles down, otherwise I would have moved. Terrific shot.
I was expecting chaos, and it seemed to go smoothly. for
No,
me,
it was
the
absolutely fine.
flying.
It was really
Yeah.
good. And I think there's something to be said of that, because I still have in the back of my head, even though, you know, I mean, let's not get into the who thinks what about this Gatwick thing, because we'll be here for a whole hour talking about it.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
But you can't,
There's
you can't
a
help the
crate.
fact. You can't help the fact that you've got that in the back of your head, and you're wondering what people are thinking. But we've still got to go out and fly and just do what we were always doing and do it safely, and not be suddenly. Because I think you just you almost show guilt when all of a sudden everyone's going recluse and they're not going out flying anymore, and spots you would fly you don't until you want the dust to settle. I think that makes it worse. Like, they haven't proved it was anything anyway, so
I think because we were in
need to keep doing what we do.
I think because we were in like a big group as well, they clearly thought maybe
Yeah.
we're a club of and
Yeah.
you know.
Jack had his high vis jacket on, looking
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
official.
yeah.
So
The return
Hiding
time.
in plain sight, as they do.
Yeah.
I think NJ's right. You just carry on doing what you're doing. Be super friendly to the members of the public. Show them what you're up to. Give them a spare pair of goggles if you have them, and get them involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not to be controversial, but I do believe Gatwick has changed ownership today. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, for the
Jack,
conspiracy
where's your phone?
theory.
it's been
Well, I can't anyway. We don't own it.
It's been bought by DJI, hasn't it? DJI bought Gatwick, I think.
Amazon, wasn't it?
Amazon, yeah. Yes.
Can I just say, that's not true. I just want to put that out there just so I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, we need one of those disclaimers like South Park has at the beginning, where it says everything in here is rubbish.
Yeah.
Don't listen to anything anyone says, and don't act out anything.
I thought that was just a given.
Yeah, I think it's a given. It's read between the lines, people. So, Kitten, where have you been, and what have you been doing that meant you couldn't even join us today?
Well, because it's the whole family are off.
What's going on?
I'm staying around Christmassy stuff.
It's Christmas.
We're still in Christmas mode over here. I'm hanging out with the family. I haven't flown anything, and I had to get out of bed this morning to actually get a package from the postman. That's how much we are sort of just chilling out. We're still in extended holiday mode. I've got a big pile of stuff to get through, and I haven't done anything.
So what stuff's turned up then?
I got the leader Tiny Whoop through today. That was what woke me up this morning. So that's pretty good.
Have you got the CADX Turtle version or the normal version?
I think I haven't looked at it in great detail. I think I've got the normal version. It's quite heavy though.
Yeah,
noticed.
I think I got that one as well. Yeah.
Quite a lump. And I've actually got a rapid fire module. Shock horror.
Was that what for review or was it as a present from
No,
someone?
for review. I probably got the one Andy ordered months and months ago.
Oh, man. Isn't there
The thing got lost.
people having problems with rapid fire in that they're getting like black and white flashes with Foxeer cameras? Or something?
I thought that was quite an old problem
Was it?
they had where they were incompatible with certain camera frequencies, and I thought they were meant to have fixed that, which is why there were so many big hardware delays. But maybe they haven't. I don't know. I have
Only
no idea.
suggested it was all fixed, but maybe he was just really drunk at the time. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, you never know you have to keep an eye on version numbers to see.
They've rolled out quite a lot of firmware,
Right.
but I haven't tried it yet. But it's going to be interesting for me because I've got quite an old pair of goggles. Because I find it really hard to justify going to new goggles when you've got like a perfectly good set of goggles which work. Because I've got Dominator 3s. Nothing wrong with them, and I can't. HDOs look great, except for Andy's, of course. And I didn't want to spend much, so I've got the whole power thing to think about. If I'm going to take this little thing, or am I going to solder some jumpers, or whatever. But it'd be an interesting thing. I guess I represent an old FPV in terms that I've got old goggles. I've still got old immersion 600 VTXs. When I say 600, I mean 25 milliwatt VTXs. They're my old planes, which didn't work on the new goggles, the new receivers.
What made me laugh was those early immersion VTXs. The 25 milliwatt was about twice the size of the 600 milliwatt ones.
Yeah, they were huge. At one point, people were printing out stickers that you just stick over the top. Say, look, 25. There's no way of measuring them.
Look, yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I think it's one of those things as well that's a little bit down to your environment, because I've tried the rapid fire and I thought rapid fire was great, but it was not significantly different to my Furious True D on 3.8. But that's conducive to or representative of where I'm flying and the environments I'm flying in. If I was flying indoors, I bet it would be a much clearer difference between.
I think there's a misconception about things like the rapid fire and the clear view fix everything, where in fact it's just like in an environment with lots of reflections, they're going to work really well. But otherwise, you'd have them in their what they call it, the normal mode, where it just acts as a diversity system, which will be the same as the Furious and every other thing out there.
It's their ability to deal with multipathing, I think, where they really shine. So if you're racing in tin cans, like lots of people doing sports halls and stuff, there I think that would be very high on the priority list. But for me, I still think the True D's working great.
I didn't realise you had the rapid fire, MJ, and you prefer the True D.
I haven't got one, but I borrowed one to test out and use for a while. And but again, it was quite early when they had kinks and bits to work out. But when it worked doing what it was supposed to do, it did work great. But it wasn't like, this is incredible, I've got to get rid of my 3D. There wasn't, and that, as I said, that's just down to the environments I fly in. A lot of outdoors, fields, trees, that kind of stuff. I don't have a problem, and it's just not been an issue for me to switch.
Now, Clive FPV in the chat has mentioned the Achilles 3.5. Now, I think, is that the one that has the internal microphone? Because that one always interested me, because we used to go on flights and sort of chat and use one of these old DVRs that I fixed to my side, and it had an internal microphone. I found that really quite nice for doing your sort of, I called it accidental commentary, because I would just mutter on to myself about what I was flying and doing, and it turned out to be like, that's quite actually useful, because when you play DVR back, sometimes you don't get the context of what you were doing. If you can hear you or your mates sort of talking about what was happening, it's quite useful.
That would have been very dangerous today, because if you'd have heard the stuff that Jack was whispering into my ear while I was flying, we'd all be off the air. We'd all community strike.
Was there any tongues in ears this time, Jack, or anything?
Yeah.
I licked your ear.
Yes, he did lick my ear in the middle of front
freestyle. Nothing went up the bum though today, so I really appreciate that. There still is time.
We'll always leave them wanting more.
I can't wait to see your footage where smooth, and then
that's gonna be my excuse anyways. I was trying to fly smooth, but Jack just randomly whispering horrendous things in my
That'd be
ears that
excellent.
cannot be repeated.
Do you think real pilots do this up in the cockpit during landing? I'm really going to nail this landing.
Yeah, like like the newbie, and they're stroking his leg, and
I think there's more people's lives at risk in those situations.
only
maybe.
even
200
more.
plus.
It all makes sense now. All this like the planes suddenly veering side by side. They can't say, "Oh, he was trying to finger me." It's going to be like, "Oh, I think I saw a drone or something."
That's what turbulence is, really. Good old fingering between friends. I mean, you know, I know it's 2018, but still.
Not for long.
I've got two questions. One, Andy RC, what the hell are you going to do about your HDOs?
Well, I need to figure out. I need to wait for Fat Shark to respond because I made that video just for Fat Shark, and I just got so wound up, and I kind of do regret it a little bit because it's one of those videos that should have just been for Fat Shark. Like this, I'm getting some sort of interference, and it's gradually gotten worse. And as somebody who relies on that gear to say whether, I don't know, an RTF copter or a VTX produces noise, and the goggles themselves are producing noise. I can't use them reliably. And what I found is interesting is going back to the HD3s. I actually am preferring them. I don't know if it's just because maybe
They actually work.
they actually work, but I don't know. I think the field of view is slightly bigger on the HD3s. I know you said it wasn't really enough for you to upgrade to the HDO.
Yeah, again, it was a thing where if I was a racer, I think it would be a must because it's just the contrast and clarity for certain things. I think would make a difference.
Yeah.
But for what I'm doing, the freestyle stuff, I still think the HD3s are a great image and they're doing everything I want. So I don't think that justifies the pretty colossal price jumps the HDOs at the minute.
Yeah.
But it's so subjective, like all of this stuff, isn't it? It's you and your journey and what matters to you. But as you say, they're an expensive goggle. If it was me, I think it'd be post
I was-
and please investigate.
I was surprised when they were like, you take them apart kind of thing, because I've always like been an advocate of Fat Shark to the point where people accuse me of working for them, and then when I posted that video, it's like, well, this is clearly proof that he has nothing to do with Fat Shark.
Wow, all proof that you were fired. One of the two.
Well, yeah. But no, usually the customer service is great. I show them the problem, and then the next day they give you a ticket number and you post it off to them. And this time I said, I'm getting these lines, and the response was, oh yeah, the ribbon connector is too close to the RF board. Because if you don't know the story, when I bought the HDOs, the case was like semi-translucent, letting lots of light in. And they gave me two options. They said, you can send them into Fat Shark and we'll do the repair, but that may potentially take a long time because we may have a huge backlog of, ones that we need to fix. Or we'll send it to you. It's a pretty easy job and it won't break your warranty. That was the thing that annoyed me in that video is, you broke your warranty, bro. You should have just sent them off. No, Fat Shark told me to take them apart. And what they said was the lines that I was getting, the interference, was the ribbon cable had come loose. So I took them apart. The ribbon cable was in exactly the same place that it was. So I think like maybe a regulator's failing, or there's some sort of power issue, or maybe I don't think it's a shielding issue because it's something that's not always been there. It's something that's gradually gotten worse. And actually, when at the point I realized was when the Tiny Hawk came out, I said in my review, oh, there's a little bit of noise in the video, and then I watched other people. I try not to watch other people's reviews, but I ended up watching another review, and it was no, I thought it was at the NEC, but it wasn't. and it was crystal clear. I thought there's something wrong here, and I was doing my cheap build as well, and I spent hours trying to get rid of these lines because I thought it was the COTS that was doing it. And I plugged in the HT3s, a crystal clear image. So, long story short, you know, I took them all apart. I did everything that they said, and it's still doing it. And
I think it's got to go off to them. Use your HD3s in the meantime, so you can rely on those.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but
it's really like put a dampener on Fat Shark because I've always, I still think they're the best despite all of this, but perhaps they've been given too good of a customer service, and maybe they're pushing back because it maybe is eating into their profit or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I wonder once they're out of warranty, will they be interested in fixing them?
Well, this is the thing with Fat Sharks. I mean, I don't think that.
On forever?
I think the warranty goes on forever. I mentioned the other day I had a pair of Fat Shark SDs that were a couple of years old, and the DVR just stopped working, and they replaced it free. You know, and they were a couple of years old. These are a goggle that I've had in July, and they've been nothing but a nightmare. So, the funny thing is, there's like I make these videos to show like these issues, and then I just get a list of comments saying I've had the HDOs from day one. They've been brilliant. They're the best thing ever, and it's kind of like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have put that video like public, but I was just so frustrated that.
Well, they're expensive. You spent your own money on them, didn't you?
We don't like that. They are, what were they? 450 in America, $450 in America, 450 GBP over here, which is nearly 500 with the module and everything.
But it used to be it's about £1,000 now.
Wow.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But
After March, it'll be about that.
Well, like I think, in a way, like the first set, you know, like when you first like buy like any sort of like new tech, because it was a leap to, you know, OLED.
Yeah.
I think it's always a bit risky, and you reviewers put balls on the line.
You may have got the first
that was a good batch.
sent out.
But then for some reason, those see-through patches, you know, it just seemed
I
like
actually waited as well, which is the annoying thing. People always say, "Oh, don't pull the plug straight away," and I wanted to make sure that I liked them, so I Painless 360. I went round. We had like a barbecue and showed me it. Oh, and no, actually, it was at some point. I think we went out for lunch or something like that, and he showed me, and I was like, the thing about the HDOs is the contrast, the whites and the blacks that just does it so much better than LCD, and that is the benefit, really, the only benefit. And you don't have to do the mod, because don't you have to do some sort of power mod if you want to use rapid fire with
Yeah,
Yeah,
you do.
you do.
You don't need to do that with the HDOs. That was my sole reason for buying the HDOs, was I wanted the rapid fire. The rapid fire never turned up, and the HDOs were see-through.
You still
And
not got
lines.
your rapid fire.
No.
And we've had Tony on the show.
And now, to add insult to the wound, Curry Kittens had a free pair sent to him.
I know, it's weird. How did that happen?
Where, just out of interest, which
Where did
company
they come
was
from?
it that? Where did they go? No, I couldn't.
No, bizarrely, it was GearBest, and they don't send anything.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've not heard of those guys in ages.
Every time I talk to my GearBest guy and I say, here's a list of stuff, they say we haven't got any stock of that, which is essentially what GearBest website is like most of the time, unfortunately. If they could sort out the stock situation and have actual prices they're going to stick to instead of changing them on a daily basis with a random number generator, they might do a bit better.
I mean, I say this to to GearBest all the time. They send me these Skype messages, and I pretty much stopped working with them because they're saying, oh, because it's like a symbiotic relationship with the reviewer and these companies. you know, we get to check out this technology and say whether it's any good or not, and then companies like GearBest, Banggood, Hobby King, whatever, they get the advertisement, don't they? And I've had GearBest offer me a lot of stuff lately, and I've just been saying, look, and there's no point because, you know, you're listing stuff in stock. And they even say, like, we've got 30 of these in stock. And then I will message the person and say, can I get one for review? And they'll say, no, we've got none in stock. I'm like, your website says there's 30 in stock. And then people complain that it takes 3 months for it to arrive. And that's because what they do is they actually don't have the stuff in stock. Someone will order it and then they'll get it in stock. And that's why it takes 3 months for it to turn up. So that's why I don't work with GearBest so much.
I wonder if they don't have a warehouse at all. They just tell the supplier to send it directly to these guys. So. That takes months and months.
Maybe so. Although looking at UAV Futures tour of GearBest, it did look like a pretty big operation, actually, like as big as Banggood. So I don't know. I've told them multiple times. They're always saying, why don't we sell many drones? And I say, because of this, the customer service isn't very good, and you know, you're saying things that are in stock that aren't in stock, and that's it. And you know, if you don't improve that, then people aren't going to buy stuff.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I saw what was the other factory Stu went to, because it was so funny to watch, because Stu's all like this super high energy. Jeez, yeah, we're here with these motors. It's going to be incredible. Hi there, and this guy's just like literally working on his thing, and that's the most he does. And he was around the whole factory, being all animated and excited, and he didn't get anything from anyone. It was just so strange.
Yeah, I think it would have been better probably. I know Alex Edit. What's his channel called now? It's called Flyers District. He did something similar, but I think he maybe I don't know, got a tour first and got more of an explanation of what was going on, and it just seemed like
his video is so much better.
It just seemed like Stu was just kind of let loose and just told, like, this is where we make the motors and that's it. So that's all he could say. He couldn't say, you know,
it wasn't
how the windings done.
It wasn't very good Stu stuff, was it? I didn't find it very good at all.
No, I'd love to do something like that though. I mean, because me and NJ had this conspiracy that it's all just like all these Chinese companies is just one guy sitting at a desk.
One guy that never sleeps.
Yeah. And he just like, he's doing everything, you know. So
caffeine on a drip into his arm, just raging on the keyboard.
Yeah. So if you donate, perhaps we can go.
We'll fly you out there.
No, all of us can go. Oh, can you imagine?
Be one smuggled in the suitcase.
Yeah. But it'd be interesting to see that. But yeah, Alex Edit or Flyers District.
Yeah.
We've had him on the show a couple of times.
No, he's a really nice guy. I've spoken to him a couple of times because he lives in Miami. He does like
tried to go on a date with Tony whilst he was out there.
Give me a lift in his plane
to Riot Fest, right?
I should have gone, really.
Yeah, he's like, you should have just screwed green card.
You know, right are moving to Florida.
Do they?
So
is that because the weather's better?
When I'm going, I don't know.
Because I thought that, like, I know Georgia is like
Orlando as well. Yeah. So when I go to see Bruce again in March and then again in September, I'm going to go and hang out, I think, with the guys.
Yeah.
Go and find Chad.
So, random subjects. Sorry, do you want to
do you remember my second question?
Sorry, what was it?
My second question, but like 15 minutes later.
Apologies.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm so sorry, NJ.
Hang on.
Did any of you guys get any RC related presents for Christmas? And if so, what are they?
Who's going first?
Yeah. Frank?
What do you mean of like home
I got the Radiant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then flew it into
Yeah,
NJ's
fluid.
head.
That was my ask.
You good? Good? No, yeah. Quick,
Yeah.
little quick review.
brilliant. I thought
Yeah,
it
it's
was
cool.
great fun on a day like today where there's barely any wind. That
Who
was,
got it for you?
my family.
Oh, NJ, you get anything RC related?
Not RC related. I did get some upgrade parts for my 3D printer, which of course,
See, he's a traitor now.
which I
Hang on.
gave to my missus to buy for me. Oh, we got donation. Oh my god. Oh, the FPV.
Oh, yeah,
Mate, you
What
better-
are we gonna do
Right,
with you?
this
is
could be a
smart-
fight.
Oh, yeah,
One each, I
far
think.
too
Oh
kind,
my
man.
god.
One on each nipple,
Far too
Tony.
kind.
Well, I've got a dog next to me, so
Oh, the
be
FPV is
careful.
awesome.
These
I
are
think
legends.
Prepare to choke to death.
He just picks a spot in the conversation where he's a bit bored. He's like, right, I'll do it.
Right.
Let's get sparklers
We need
involved.
some. Oh, you are you
Add
kidding
fire.
me?
Are we all doing one?
I ain't doing one.
Can they see? Can they see this?
Probably just say 1 per 10.
I don't know where the lighter is.
There's a light
Oh,
going.
this has so much potential. This is so much wood. This is flammable. This is
It's
all
dangerous.
Is
flammable.
this gonna scare Junior?
I'm pretty sure I'm 90%
Where's the
flammable.
light gone?
I
He caught us unexpected.
Kitten, do you advise this? Should we all do one?
Where is it gone?
I'm really scared because these look really. Are they that? But I'm
They're
gonna
not
watch
that
Tony's
I
first.
need one over here on camera too.
Oh my god! Right, no, I'm not doing
Thank
that.
you, RDFTV. This
So,
one's for
One over the
you.
side.
Oh my god, you are nuts! Oh my god!
It's getting quite warm in here. Quite quickly.
Here, Andy.
All right,
No, no,
Jamie.
dude. Oh, I can do a properly small one.
That is
Oh.
properly warm.
All right. There you go.
That's about
Blimey.
You
as
are
big as
quite
I'm
legendary now, RDFTV.
That's Richard Hardwood's.
And that's
one.
Richard's. Thank you very
Really
much.
burnt my thumb.
Wow.
These are really not safe things.
Well, it's like smoky in here now.
Where do we
Uh,
go? Have we got
in the
water
bottles.
things?
In the bottles.
Okay. There we go.
Is that technically mist or fog? What is the?
Where's
I think it's a
this one
light
going?
mist.
Smog
In
at this
It's a lack
point.
of
Smog,
oxygen.
yeah.
That gets really warm.
That got
It's the,
warm.
the
That one.
carcinogenic version, unfortunately.
That is not. Oh,
Oh,
that is
Oh.
not meant to be handheld.
Thank you for that outrageous super chat. Thank you very much. One thing I wanted to talk about actually today, just from, I think I was probably the only person who did this. I bought far too many quads with me for this fly, and I ended up bringing 7 or something.
And you flew them all, I think.
I did manage
you?
to fly all. Yes, I did. Every single one got a fly. 2 of which I updated to base flight 4, the nightly build, and I was absolutely blown away. One was 2 totally different quads on a nightly version 4 build of Betaflight, and one was a 5-inch, one was a 6-inch, and they both flew absolutely fantastically. Both needed no tuning, just my rakes putting in, and so locked. So it's been a while since I've been able to say I've noticed a huge jump in Betaflight. Every major version comes along and you get lots of people go, oh, it's totally changed, prop wash has literally evaporated and blah blah blah. But in terms of flight field, there's never that big of a jump for me to say it's a huge difference. Maybe you notice a few bits and pieces here because it's so good already. I'm not knocking the code work that's done on it, but 4 felt like a significant jump over 3.5 for me, especially on the 6-inch for any of you that are flying larger quads. Hello, dog.
Did you try it on?
I'm choking to death.
Did you?
Someone open the door.
Should we have a little bit of there?
Yeah, please.
open the door just a little bit.
I'm enjoying it. I'm feeling jolly.
This is reminding me of Brad as his van.
So
With
has
Gab in there as well.
Has anyone actually tried Betaflight 4.0 yet? Any of the nightly developer builds? Because I think they're definitely, it's definitely worth a lot. But bear in mind, it's a developer build. There are bugs, and I found one on one of the Maytech boards that I flashed, which was, even though the board's IMU was facing the right way, in the software, in the firmware, it decided it was 90 degrees off. Ask me how I know.
Quite a small
So
one. I
bear that
guess.
in mind if you're going to try 4.0 before it goes to release candidate. Expect there might be a few little things to iron out still, but amazing flying in terms of its performance. But yeah, I had the same performance on a 6-inch with bi-blades as I did on a 5-inch with tri-blades, both locked and beautiful. Worth checking out.
None of those copters were a freestyle 5-inch though, were they? I'd be interested.
The Emax Hawk 5. Well, that's more of a race.
I
I was
I'm-
freestyling it because
I'm
what I
talking like a heavy, like what I was flying. And I just wonder what the difference is. Because what I find is the heavier the quad, the smoother it seems to fly. Anyways,
gets better, doesn't it?
yeah. So
I would imagine it would be good.
even better, maybe.
Yeah, and the things that I found was interesting was how good your felt. And in the default heads-in 4, yours incredibly low with a high forward feed. And it's great because if you can get your nice and low, your can be like a real pain in the arse in terms of noise
Yeah.
and tuning problems. I had a lot of problems with old KISS stuff with your issues.
Yeah. When you get into your issues with yours.
Yeah, we didn't quite get to
Yeah,
the
it's
bottom of
like-
that without a bit of testing. But I mean, KISS is still great. I'm just as a random example. But yeah, being able to reduce the P on your gives you a lot more headroom to tune the other and tighten up the other stuff.
It's only bad if you fly backwards, like MJ was doing.
Yeah, I managed to bring that out. That was I think that was D-tone. But yes,
So
always
you
great.
reckon-
And yeah, Bloods has said that. Actually, it was Bloods that told me to go for it. And normally I don't do things like that right the day before I'm going out for a fly. But yeah,
Yeah,
the way
enough
around.
quads.
Yeah, if you bring enough quads, you just play the odds.
I mean, he was crashing. He was like, I don't need to go
So-
get it.
Yeah,
There's no
Bloods
bugs.
says-
There's no bugs or anything.
yes, there are. Just talking about one
90
NATO
degrees.
board, 90-degree out on the IMU, which has got to be ironed out. So, but that was the time where that Betaflight crash flip protection kicked in because it armed, it just went drip, and just that's when it once it kicked in. So that safety feature works.
That could be
Yeah, that's
board
good.
specific as well. Because you
Yeah,
have to
more than
remember
likely,
when
yeah,
they
it will
release
be.
these, it's
Oh.
for every board. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, no, it was fine on the 6-inch Archon.
So it was just that
It was
one.
just that one board. Bloods has actually said I have been flying 4.0 on a 680 gram all up weight 5-inch 6S and 4S. It's great, dynamic filters. Yeah, so 4.0 is awesome. Like it gets a big thumbs up from me. But I think we'll all be putting up our various flight footage from today. Frank, how was your experience? We saw you up FPVing.
Yeah,
It's nothing but
um,
fire.
yeah, I landed pretty uneventfully in the end, but
Look good to me.
yeah, I didn't enjoy it because it was basically just fog. I could see like tree, field, sky. That was about the level of detail I had.
Bit of goggle issue with you as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well.
And how about you, Jack? You have fun today? Yours all works all right, didn't it?
Yeah, once I fixed the yaw problem, got it a bit more reasonable, it was nice to kind of find out where I was going wrong. But yeah, no action camera. So I haven't really got any footage.
We got some of your on the live stream, right? Which is already up
Yeah.
earlier. Did that?
There might
Yeah,
be
yeah.
some there. There
Yeah,
might
yeah.
be some there, Jack.
Yeah.
Every time I come down, the GoPro is off. Right? So I don't know, and it didn't take long to copy all the files off. So I don't think enough's there really. But I got to fly out with you guys. I'm really knackered anyway. Like when I'm really tired, I'm just I can't be trusted. So,
Eating more than normal.
well, yeah, the last time I was like really sleep deprived. I
You slept in a van.
crashed into my mate's arm. So yeah, not good.
Oh, yeah.
So
What happened with your GoPro 5, by the way?
I just left it at home. Just totally forgot it.
Oh, and
So-
then you say you were at your mum's, and then
Yeah, so used to having it just strapped to my quad,
yeah.
and I must have removed it for some reason. And yeah, it's just up on top of. Sometimes you put something where you never really put it. It's like I've taken it off the quad, and it's on the top of the shelf, like on some hair
And
gel.
I put stuff
I've
on top of my
never
trainers,
totally out of my
I leave it.
routine.
and then I still go out.
Yeah.
Move it away.
The
from
worst is when I
trainers
put
and
stuff on
still
my
go out.
bed. Be like, don't forget that, and
Yeah.
then leave it. Like take the keys, everything.
Exactly what I do.
But yeah, Like,
I think that's the worst thing about this hobby. If you, I mean,
forget a key component.
I'm quite lucky in that when I do my reviews, the field's close. So if sometimes I'll get out, I'll plug the quad in, and then my fat shark battery isn't with me.
Yeah.
But the other day, we travelled, you know, a few miles, got there, and did exactly that. Just there's just so much to remember to bring, and you know, if you know, I'd done like 200 miles today. I'm so gutted that I forgot to put your GoPro in
Oh,
there.
that's all right, man.
And I don't know why it kept turning off, because that's like I use it a lot.
Run cam syndrome. All my run action cams did that. Land and was off halfway through a flight.
I hate that.
Always
like-
your best one. Did you get any RC related Christmas presents?
I did.
Don't people start donating again because that question was rubbish. Apparently.
I didn't because I mean there's
It's
just
just like work, isn't it?
well no, there's just my parents and they haven't got a clue about it.
I don't want to encourage you.
But I did buy, I guess, myself a present. I bought.
Self-present.
That counts. I did as well. I did that this year, embarrassingly enough. Gilmore Girls t-shirt.
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, they are
Awesome.
hot though.
Yeah.
No comment.
I bought myself 2 Kiss ESCs
Tony bought me a Kiss EST.
because one exploded, and I bought 2 new arms for the Alien, which I only thought I'd need one, but it turned out that the 32 amp ESCs had dug a hole in both of the
holes in
arms.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
I don't know.
Is he lighting them all
He's got
in one
bored.
go?
Merry Christmas, Tony.
Thanks.
Here you go.
Well, I'm not holding it.
Did
now.
someone donate?
No,
No,
it's
it's
just
no.
decided.
Zach's just decided to light stuff on fire.
Jack did give me. I got a Tramp VTX for Christmas. Jack.
Have Tramp changed the connector to MMCX yet?
Not yet.
Tony, what was the
You
name of
need
the
to-
menace
you need to
frame
do
you were
that.
flying today?
Physics.
Right, okay. I think that's one that's been being discussed in chat a little bit. Asking about Greg's frame. How do you feel about it?
I really like it. It's really good frame, really good. Someone just commented on my video and bought one this afternoon.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
And you were trying out some new props, which I really like the look of.
I thought they were
And,
really quiet as well.
T-motor were they?
yeah,
Very-
51, 40.
Very thin profile, similar to the what are they called?
The down.
They're really,
Size,
really
yeah.
light. They're like 2.5 grams each. They don't crash very well though. So I wouldn't, if I had to put it go in a race.
Have you
I
tried
wouldn't
the
risk
down
it.
ones that are like that? Because they're made of that
I-
nice
They're
material.
They
very
just
Does
don't look
bend
nice.
back.
They just look.
I think the down
cool to me.
material is better. You can
Yeah,
bend them back.
downs have always
Yeah,
been good.
might be worth seeing how they compare. But yeah, perform well. Went pretty well. Good efficiency. You seem to be up pretty decent. that
Yeah,
time.
about 3.5 minutes on them.
Considering a lot of that was gunning. It was like,
Yeah, and they're 2600 kb. So no, you stay there.
Gary Kitten, are you still with us?
I am still with you. I don't know if I'm showing up on video.
we've got
You are.
Did
I am
you
here.
answer our Christmas question?
No, I didn't get any RC related gifts for Christmas.
Not even one to yourself. You not follow the rule that we all do. One for you, one for me.
Not even some prop nuts in Santa's sack.
No, I mean, I had to buy an ESC, but that wasn't really a Christmas present. That was just like I had to get something for a plane to fly. That doesn't count, does it? I had a gloriously RC-free Christmas.
What was the Mavic Air? Was that last year? Was that for the
That was for my
birthday?
birthday back in May.
Surely it should have been a Zoom 2 then or something this year for Christmas.
No.
Surely.
I got a musical instrument for Christmas from the family. I got a bass guitar as something completely different because I don't have enough time. So I thought, yeah, I'd try and learn something else.
So the
And then
LDO
I have 0 time.
drums, guitar, bass.
We've got everyone now,
I
so
need
there
to-
is no excuse.
Frank used to sing.
Is that Bob Bow in the chat saying how small is Tony?
Yeah.
I'm not small. Jack's just large. That's why.
Tony is small though. No bigger than the size of your thumb.
Yeah.
I'm fun size.
I was watching Borrowers over Christmas. I was like, oh look, it's like hanging around with Tony.
So before we all came here, we all went out for a meal. And Tony, you pre-booked the meal, didn't you? What did you put
What
the
a
name?
bell end.
What did you boot the table under?
Yeti, the Yeti.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
They, like they'll take that bloody.
And
serious.
somehow
Well, they actually did.
they somehow still let us in, even though.
It's for Mr. Dwayne Pipe.
You say this, but every time I've seen Jack go into Starbucks and they say, who's it for? He says, like, Princess Miss Pixie Face or something, just to try and get them to write something ridiculous.
They
on
don't
the cup.
need to know my name. They just need to make my drink.
But how do they? How do you know it's your coffee unless they shout out, "This is for Princess Miss Pixie Cake"? Or
No, they just go and say the name of my
Well,
drink.
that suits, doesn't it? Really?
what if 4 people have ordered the same drink and there's a fight?
Well, they can just have it if that's what they ordered and they want that, you know, and they're that desperate.
It's
crack
a
on.
weird. This is like a Tony level thing to get paranoid about.
No,
Tony's going to be
they
like, they're
don't
taking
need
my
to know
name down.
my
They're
name.
checking my drinks out.
Don't get paranoid. The conspiracies are real.
So what
You
about
don't get paranoid
conspiracy
because
about
everybody thinks you.
Gatwick that's being talked about in the chat at the moment about
There's
it
lots
being
going on.
sold?
Yeah,
She
Ashley's
got sold by it to a
Droning
French
on.
company.
Yeah. What's he put?
It just seems so sus, doesn't it?
50% of Gatwick shares sold today to a French company.
Do you think they managed to beat the price down by flying a bunch of drones over the top?
Well,
Or
no,
pretending to
Or flying no
pretending
drones over the
to
top
fly
and just
them
saying they
over.
were?
That's the
just
thing.
ring it in and get people getting into a bit of hysteria, and then any flashing light on a crane or anything nearby is all of a sudden a drone.
What gets me is there's still no evidence.
Oh yeah, 100
Yeah.
press left for 3 days and not a single photo.
And the army.
I like the meme
And
that
the
was
army.
going around that was a photo of drones, you know, a drone like a Phantom or something being like 67 sightings, and then a picture of Loch Ness Monster and 117 sightings.
I did a
Yeah.
post this morning, and it was the Daily Star, and it said something like they were taking issue with the fact that the drone laws aren't coming in until November next year, and they were saying after this Gatwick thing, then it needs to be escalated, and the government needs to, you know, speed up the process. And all I was thinking at this time was, no, you need to stop falsely accusing people, innocent people who did nothing, who had their Christmas ruined. There were no drones seen, and that just made me so mad that was allowed, that any of that is allowed to happen.
What I don't understand, sorry,
Go on, go on.
is that the guy they nabbed didn't own a drone, didn't have one on his property.
No, it's an MD-500 replica, wasn't it? Military RC helicopter.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It's all very strange.
Like, why bag him?
a drone? Because
Yeah.
there's no differentiation between anything, is there? It's like
No,
a
no,
drone
drone
covers
is- it's an
every
objective.
single thing possible that might fly.
Exactly. It's the most grey term for anything in the air that hasn't got someone sat in it.
It's like
it's
like
really-
Bitcoin. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, like any coin could be as far as I know.
Yeah.
It's just I just think something needs to change with the media. It needs to be, you know, innocent until
Do you reckon?
proven guilty.
Do you reckon
not
they're
the
in
other
for
way
some
around.
big compensation then?
Well,
Will they be in a position? To
I
do that?
really hope so.
Ash
I
has
hope
just
they're
said
compensated.
125k.
That's not enough. I don't think
Yeah, I mean
they
the
need to be
humiliation
seriously
is-
punished. I think, you know.
Can
They-
you imagine? It might as well arrest Tony. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I'd get 50k out of it.
Because
They
the thing
nearly
was,
did arrest Tony
Yeah, I know.
from what I saw.
No.
because arresting it is one side of it, and you know, if they have reason to suspect, then they're going to arrest to do the questioning. If they don't charge, then that's absolutely nothing has happened legally, really. But the really bad thing was that the press published their identities. They took photos from their Facebook pages.
Yeah.
They absolutely spread their names
fully
around
violated,
everywhere,
yeah,
and
fully
that's terrible.
And then where they live.
Exactly, and all this kind of thing, and that's specifically against what was, came out of the Leveson inquiry.
But did you see how the press defended themselves? They suggested by naming them, they were key in getting them seen as innocent quicker, because more details came out about their whereabouts. That's what they're suggesting as their defence for naming them.
At which she drowned, which means she was actually innocent.
Exactly.
But we proved it. Look.
I don't want to go in and get her.
What are they going to speed up us signing our lives away now?
What they were saying was
the
that
registration process, I think.
What the press was saying was that by publicising the details, they were hastening the legal process. And it's like, the legal process shouldn't be hastened.
No.
You shouldn't be hasty with the law. The whole point is you have due process.
Yeah.
And they completely screwed it up.
So we're all going to have to register. Jack's already said he's going to quit.
I'm really sorry, but yeah, I'm done. Like
Bruce, was it? He compared it to just being like
sex register. Yeah, he might as well be.
Yeah, it's like this.
Do you know what I mean? They're just going to be like Gatwick. They're going to go down the list. They're going to be like,
who's closest?
Well, he's got a helicopter, but no drone. Scratch him. Oh, Tony's in Crawley. He's just around the corner.
He's got a push bike.
Yeah, it's just do him. Hang on. Works alone. Lives alone.
Was seen standing on top of his van. Yeah, that sounds like something dodgy.
Stands on top of his van.
Yeah.
Because that is a genuine concern. Because they've said that we're not going to do that, and that's specifically going to be in the rules of how we use this information, is that we're not going to use it that way. But then it's specifically that the press aren't allowed to be publicising these details until someone's charged. So obviously they don't care about the rules.
And we can say it again, although it's so obvious to everybody with half a brain, that if you're out there to do criminal intent, one thing you won't do is register on a drone register.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the bank robbers and who do armed robberies. They don't hold the guns legally. And people that have a getaway car, they've stolen that car because they won't use their own because it's registered to them. It's pretty obvious to most people, and yet there's this sudden thought that registering will stop all crime.
I think maybe they just want to be seen to be doing something.
That's definitely part of it. But the other thing is what they're trying to do is be able to find places. So by having people registered, it means that a bit like having a license for your car. If you're stopped driving and you don't have a license, then you can immediately be nicked for driving without a license without having to work out, was it dangerous driving, was it not dangerous driving, anything like that. In the same way that if someone finds someone flying a drone and they land it and you go, where's your proof of registration, and you go, don't have any, then they can immediately nick you for flying without being registered.
Yeah.
But if what we're doing here is having 99% of these cases where you'd actually get nicked is actually flying legally anyway. So you're just criminalizing legal, safe behavior.
The problem, especially now, see how many videos there are on YouTube already of those exact scenarios. The police having no real idea what they're supposed to do in terms of what they're trying to regulate. They just know someone's got a problem with it, and they feel like they should be there to deal with. There's no training, no information.
It's like him though. You used to own a quad bike, yeah? Mm-hmm. Also, do you know what I laughed? Sorry, going back to, Bruce's, bit non-sequitur, Bruce's video where he said, like, what happens if that bloke, likes to take walks in the woods? Old Mr. Blazing Hygienist here, out on his bike in the woods as well. You're perfect to line up for...
No, I know.
No alibi. Yeah. It's great. Anyway, where was I going? You used to have a quad bike. They used to pull you over for not wearing a crash helmet.
Yeah, they didn't even know. They had to ring in.
Yeah, they might as well do you for not wearing a seatbelt on a bike.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
I know.
I ain't going to know.
No, and they're not going to know for a
So
while.
Here's a question in the chat. How many of you are BMFA that are unhappy with BMFA moving forward? Because, of course, January you'll all have to re-sign up to them. How many of you have to because of the fields perhaps you fly in or clubs? And how many of you are saying, no, I feel like they've thrown us under the bus, I don't want anything to do with
You're unhappy, Tony?
No, I've got to re-register with BMFA.
Because we had a good chat with the BMFA at the NEC drone show, and they seemed to really be on our side, didn't
probably not anymore now.
Well, because the interesting thing is, that FPV UK have now been sitting in all the same meetings and are seen as, on the level with BMFA by the CAA and the authorities. So they're in equal stature, yeah. So as far as I can see, I don't see why BMFA would get more stick for the registration continuing than FPV UK when FPV UK were in those same meetings.
Right.
But
it's just my club wants us.
but I mean, they both BMFA and FPV UK were both in those meetings, and still the multi-rotor rule came out of it.
It's us and the Chinook pilots.
Yeah, pretty much.
What I thought was interesting and
Angry
some-
Chinook pilots.
something that we missed at the NEC show was the CAA did a talk all about the relationship that they have with the BMFA, and this was before, like a week before the Gatwick thing, so maybe something will change there. But one thing that they did say is that they actually don't have like a set plan yet. That's why it's November next year, because we don't actually know. It could be that if you are a BMFA member, you're completely exempt. Actually, if you go to on the kitchen table,
Simon
Newton's channel, there is the entire talk that the CAA did, and it's really interesting. In fact, what they said was is that this whole registration thing and the test, it sounds more horrible than it is. And what they don't want to target the hobbyist. They want to target the 16-year-old that is going to sit at a computer and go through some, because a 16-year-old isn't going to sit at a computer, go through 100 questions to try and answer them. And that's who they want to target rather than the hobbyists, is what they said at that point. And so it might be the case that BMFA members and people like that, it'll be very simple for us to do. It'll be literally 10 questions, like your DJI questions you get at the moment.
There's
Didn't
something
you fail that
interesting.
one?
There's something interesting that
I
BMFA
did. Yes, I failed it.
Ash has pointed out here, which is the BMFA. The BMFA have entirely lost my respect, having not spoken out about the incident at all. And FPV UK, they actually came out and said we'll send in a drone hunting squad, didn't they? So it was nice to see some.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a bit tongue in cheek. I don't think
really.
I don't think
I don't know,
FPV
I
UK.
think-
I
will-
think it was a lot of people that suggested it. Like,
Oh,
don't send
yeah.
a sniper and send us. Like,
Good
Yeah,
plan.
fly into this.
but I don't think
This imaginary
anyone was
drone.
expecting that to work out.
I
Like,
think
I
as
don't
well,
think.
At least they said something.
But they
That was nice
yeah.
that
So the
people like
BMFA,
Hackett
to be
involved.
fair to them, did put out a post about it. But it was a bit of a weird one because it was we haven't seen any evidence on this, so we don't feel like we can make a proper statement on it yet. And then they made a load of they had a lot more non-statement after that about
also
safe
when
flying
we
and
spoke
everything.
to the BMFA as well, they admitted themselves that they don't think that they have enough online presence.
Yeah.
So it might be, yeah, you might say, oh, the BMFA did nothing, but actually they're quite old-fashioned. They've been around for ages and
Probably had a few cake sales.
How many years could you only pay for the BMFA by check?
Yeah,
opposed
exactly.
to actually stay a member.
And
It's like-
he actually said that they were working on a YouTube channel to sort of try and educate and give more updates. So I would give them the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I would tend to think that the BMFA got more stick than FPV UK, because whereas FPV UK were pretty straight coming out and saying this is all we could get, the sort of Theresa May response, like this is the best we could do, it's that or nothing. The BMFA sort of put it out as a brilliant, we've managed to protect most of our flyers, you'll be able to carry on as normal. Oh, and you stupid quad twats, you can you got over there, you just have to have a separate rule.
Yeah.
That wasn't what we got from speaking to them, though, was it?
Well, they'll be on soon.
Yeah, that's
And-
they're coming on the show. Hopefully,
Do we ever have time?
We'll find out.
It was
Yes.
meant to be last week, but I think it didn't work out. Did it?
Yeah.
It's January second week,
Okay, so
I
yeah,
think.
all right. We're looking at mid-January then. BMFA
10th.
10th.
on the 10th. Okay, so put that in your diaries,
Prepare
guys.
your nipples.
I really liked
I think
what
I've been
that guy
interesting.
had to say about they want to be more involved with FPV and they are sort of seen as more of a like disconnected from it. But you have to remember, we were at the NEC drone show and the BMFA were there. Were
Yeah.
FPV UK were they there?
No, they're in York.
So you know, and we renewed I renewed my
Yeah, no, I did.
my
Yeah.
insurance. It was
Do
dead
you?
easy to do.
I haven't renewed it yet, but I do need to.
I
Yeah,
am
same
going
with
to
me.
again.
Yeah, it's
But I don't want to join the sex offenders list. All it's going to be is some sort of Christmas list for when anything does kick off.
Also, I kind of thought as well. I mean, how is it going to work for us reviewers who have maybe, 50 to 60 quads? Do we register?
Registration. Yeah.
Do we register?
Logistical nightmare. It'll be.
Well, hopefully
It'll be
it's
no,
just-
no, no, no. So,
rehearsing.
so the
Hardly a week.
day before NEC, I went up to meet with CAA and people, and the people that are actually being paid to build the registration system. From what they said there is registration definitely happening. One,
Yeah.
it's going to be registration of pilots, not of aircraft. So
okay.
you register yourself, and then you put your number on the aircraft. And there's going to be an online competency test as part of it, as part of signing up.
So the competency test online
Yes.
could be completed by anyone who wouldn't know it's necessarily you.
But it's going to be fairly. It's just going to be common sense stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm saying, you know where you were like, oh, the 16-year-old isn't going to sit down.
Yeah.
Mum and dad might
Only
do
in the
it.
same way a DJI app, when it asks you pass this test, we won't let you fly your quad, could be handed to someone next to them in
That's
the room.
what they're going
Yeah.
They can
for.
still use it.
Because they have to show that they're doing something, but on the other hand, they don't want to kill the
Yeah.
industry and the hobby because
They're
it's
just gonna.
linked.
All it's going to do, right, is there's going to be a load of people who want to jailbreak DJI stuff in order to use illegal means because of like
Yeah.
geofencing and
That
stuff.
is a weird thing. Like, personally, I think that seems like a much bigger issue. Like, having a rule of you can't remove geofencing from something that has geofencing on it seems to me like that would be much more important. Like, if you could, like, if someone has a DJI thing and they've put the hacked firmware on it because DJI managed to put it out on GitHub and not be secured, so that anyone could change the encryption. If you can remove, if you flash your DJI with the hacked firmware that has no geofencing on, why are you doing that unless you're doing that to cause trouble? Like, surely that should be a thing that you should be next for flying around. Like,
Yeah, but it's how do you do it? Because they're the people that aren't going to register and aren't going to have a thing on the side of.
but it would mean that
that's why they've said that they want. There's not a lot they can do about that, but and again bringing it back to the youngster, it's sort of educating early about drone safety, and you're always going to get idiots that are going to do that, and it's the same as burglary or anything
You're
like
going to
that.
get told off if your sticker falls off or whatever.
I mean, it wouldn't, it wouldn't make a difference if someone had just like had an old one, or someone had one that was, just didn't have geofencing on it at all. But just, if someone was going around with a Phantom on it that had the special firmware, hacked firmware that didn't have geofencing on, that should be considered a criminal tool, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should. And
But then if you start going down that road, it's like you can have the components to build a taser, but if you build a taser, then it's exactly the same as owning a handgun. You know what I mean? And then you start going into cars can be considered
It's
weapons.
the argument. It's the argument.
And then
for
it's
building
like-
a rubber knife, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you actually own the thing that you buy as well?
also a lot
But
of
isn't it that software that allows your tool
Yeah.
to do illegal things? Isn't that like?
Yeah,
I don't
but the thing is, it's like
There's some places in the world where the right to modify seems to be an important thing.
Yeah,
like
but
people think it's a right.
That's it exactly. They think,
yeah,
for example, you know, why can you go faster than the speed limit in a car? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it would be exactly the same as like buying a large SUV, and they're like, you're not allowed to add a tow bar to tow a caravan.
But isn't it
because
more like putting like a police sign on the side of your car, being like, "Yes, I'm allowed to drive in here because I'm the police."
Yeah, but that's a rouge, isn't it? That's, you know, pretending to be something else.
Or isn't it more like a copy of someone's key?
The argument that I saw was that you know, I bought this drone and you know, it's like it's my right to be able to unlock it and you know in the same way as I can buy a Ferrari and it'll drive at 200 miles per hour, but I'm not going to. That was from what I was reading about unlocking, because I think it started off as the Mavic Pro that you could unlock, and I believe that the way that it gets unlocked is it was actually DJI software.
I knew this part of it, and I think from what Ash from Droning On has said in the chat, I think I've understood a bit more, because what I understood from it was because GitHub, like massive international repository of code, DJI had published their code on there but hadn't set it to be private. Right. So anyone could just take it and work with all the encryption for what firmware you flash
end. It's the back end, like, so it's actually
Andy RC loves a bit backdoor.
So I thought someone had like taken that and used that and modified it to make a geofence free version of it. From what Ash is saying, it's actually the OEM firmware.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's essentially
what DJI used to limit it, but then you can just, you know, take all of that off. So
but that is their mistake.
That's their mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their mess up, but yeah, someone's taken something that shouldn't do that and turned it malicious. That's like buying a butter knife and then you've sharpened it, you know, and then.
But that's the difference, isn't it? This isn't code that's been written to go around the geofencing.
No.
This is code that existed without geofencing, which is it's like a very slight difference, but it's important because it's the intent.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like owning a car, and it's like, you know, it's like, and also the Apple screens. It's like you've got the tire pressure regulators, you know, and your wheel pops, and you can't get an official tire to put the regulator back on, so you buy a steel rim, and it's exactly the same size. It fits it reaches the OEM manufacturer thing, but because the car and its software goes, I don't know what pressure is in that tire, because it's not a you know, my brand of tire. So you're no longer allowed to drive your car. So your car, you've paid for it, you own it, you maintain it, you know, you sort of elevate and, like, you know, promote the brand of owning that car, and you've put your trust in it. And because the sensor isn't in that steel tire, and you can't, you know, it's a Saturday and the dealership's shut, and you're in the middle of nowhere in Wales because you think you're Colin McRae.
You've actually pretty much described Tesla ownership.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
guys, very familiar.
Rich rebuilds, but yeah, you know, and then it's like you know, it's like it's like having a TV that's like, you know, you can't watch Babe Station. You're going to sit and watch BBC One because Teresa's saying something stupid, but it's actually really important, and this TV's rotting your brain. You know, you start, the things you own start telling you what to do.
Switch TVs off.
I think the sad
Very
thing is the
licensing.
amount of time we can dedicate to speculating for a solution to a problem that as yet hasn't been proven to exist.
Yeah, that is the other
Because we haven't
side of
actually
this.
done anything
And
wrong.
that is Let's Drone Out for you, I think,
Yeah.
this evening.
Yeah.
But quickly, just to round this off, because we're definitely far out of time and need to round this off.
It's like your fridge being like, you haven't eaten vegetables in a while, then starts ramming it down your throat.
All right. I just want to say there was an article that was sent over to me out of the BMFA archives by Jürgen, who was the Luftwaffe commander on Battle of Britain Model Squadron, still available on Channel 4 online thingy.
He sent to him because he hasn't got TV license.
He's an idiot, yeah. So he sent over this article and was like, guess what year and what this was written about. And it was like, these terrible new model flying things causing trouble. It's come to a head in this particular area. It's going to get us all banned. It's a shame that common sense just couldn't let now all these new people come into the hobby and it's all ruining it. And it was like written in 1947 about powered models in London on Epsom Downs or something. And it's just, but it was like word for word, exactly what you'd imagine to be written now.
Full circle,
Yeah.
Type that into a Word document, then select replace electric module with the word drone.
No, this wasn't electric. This was just powered. This was like
Powered, yeah.
not a chuck glider.
Oh.
This was a powered model.
Yeah.
It's
not-
it was
yeah.
the same. It was the same back then. So it's like this has all happened before, and I always say this. It happened with helis, happened with lipos, foamies. Like it's always the same. 2.4 gigahertz when that came in, that was gonna ruin everything. Yeah.
Resistance to change.
Yeah. So
There you go, food for thought. But right, maybe this hopefully will be the last time we have to cover in depth Gatwick Airport.
Yeah, sorry.
But maybe we'll have some better news moving forward. But
I
all in
wasn't
all-
there last week. Sorry, I wanted to.
Yeah, that was a big, deep conversation. But we had an amazing time today, I think, didn't we, gents?
Yes.
Definitely.
It was great.
Yeah.
And, we didn't have any negativity towards us from
No,
anybody.
all public were great.
Yeah, no
we were there.
pitchforks,
No
no
chase with fire or anything.
Yeah.
People
Who's spot-
stopping to watch more than anything.
Yeah,
And
well,
police
Who
helicopter.
spots next?
Anywhere. I think we'll find somewhere new.
Enjoy, is
Yeah,
it?
actually, I'm pretty central, mate.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we'll have to
Spot
see if
next.
we're near any of our subs and Patreons. Maybe we can.
You have a nice podcast set up.
Yeah, if you have a shed like this one that we can borrow.
Just
in
don't
the
do it on a
evening.
Thursday. All right, guys, thank you so much, especially to our Patreons, especially to the people that bothered to tune in and listen to us. You've been listening to Let's Drone Out. We've been joined by Andrew / Frank,
goodbye.
Curry Kitten,
Bye over here.
NJ Tech,
Take care, guys.
Andy RC.
Good evening, and can I just say special thanks to Andy as well for sorting this out.
And
With
Frank's
the-
brother as well, who
Yeah.
owns all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then we made him become a technician. Make it work. My little Tony.
Bonjour.
And I've been Bright Fly. Thank you guys. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.